Very good. So let's go ahead and get started. I think before we get into the administrative piece of what we're doing, I want to walk everybody through the actual partner registration process. I know each of the groups have your own process in place today. What we have done by implementing this platform is really centralized and standardized the overall membership process for our partner members. So since none of you have really had the opportunity to register through the platform, what I wanted to quickly do is just walk you through what your partners and yourselves are actually going to see as you register within IDCN on this platform. So if you could take a look at both the partner member registration process map as well as the re-registration request letter template that I sent out to everybody, I'll be referring to both of those documents. For those of you on the Skype call, you'll be able to see as I walk through the process map itself. All right. So, first things, as we implement this, our partners will be provided a link where they will have access to the IDCN membership request form. That link over time will actually be implemented and attached to the current IDCN website. It is today separate from the IDCN website, but it is a working link and application, which I'll show you here in just a moment. So what will happen, really starting from the top, is that the members will submit a membership request form. And let me show you that real quickly.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, we've begun. So the members, when they click on the link that is provided in the re-registration letter that I've sent out to everybody, will actually, if your phone is not on mute, if you could mute it, that would be great. I'm hearing myself talk. All right. So what will come up when our members register is they'll actually see a registration form. Again, still hearing feedback in the back, so again, if you could mute your phone, that would be great. All right. So the membership request form is very similar to what each of you probably use today in one form or another, whether it be in a paper form or whatever the case may be. So when a member clicks on the link, they'll actually fill out their information and go through specific account data that they will create for themselves. They'll put their name in, they'll add their email address, and they will create a password that they will use to access the system later on so that they can update their member profiles. I'll include some other relevant information, and this is information that you as membership managers, membership approvers will use to determine whether or not this particular person meets your membership criteria and IDCN's membership criteria. So we're starting to gather some information that is going to be added to their profile. We'll also ask them when they relocated to the area, what region of citizenship they have, how they heard about IDCN, and also if they'd like to be a volunteer. Once they go through all of this, they will put the verification code that's at the bottom of the screen. They will agree with the terms and conditions, which they can see by clicking on this link. and submit their membership request. Once they submit their membership request, they'll receive a message here that says an email validation link has been sent to their email address. Now, throughout the process of membership, they will receive a number of email communications from the system. So in this case, as a way to create some security around this process, we'll send out an email to the member. And we'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so the member will receive an email to their email box. It'll ask them to click on the link to validate whether or not they are the person who sent in this information. Once that is done, then the actual membership approval process begins. So at that point in time, they will have created a membership request that is pending approval from the local administrators. And continuing to walk through the PowerPoint document, they'll validate their email address, we'll send a confirmation message. You as an administrator will review that request, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a moment. You will either accept or decline that membership request. If you decline it, the system will automatically send them a decline message, at which point the process will end. If you accept their membership request, Synchron will update the database, will send a confirmation message via email to the partner member, and at that point in time, that email will tell them that they can then complete the rest of their profile information. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but if you walk through the process map, it basically shows you what will happen along the way. And you'll actually have the opportunity to see this firsthand as you register. So once a partner has registered, they will then be given the opportunity to update their profile. They'll log in with the password information that they created through their original membership request, and they'll be welcomed very nicely. And they will then have the opportunity to complete their profile, or what we call here their CV. There's quite a bit more information that they have the opportunity to then enter into the system. So you can go from personal information, you've got information about the types of jobs that you're looking for, your work experience, your educational experience, languages that you speak, other abilities, courses and certifications, other general information, and information about being a volunteer. So what will happen here is the partner can then create a much more robust profile that will be viewable by our corporate members as well as our recruitment partners. They also have the ability to upload a photo and upload a CV. So the database itself will have all of that information, and I'll show you what that looks like here in just a moment. questions about the registration process and kind of what the partners go through? Again, it'll be much clearer when you actually go through it yourself. Okay. All right. So once all of that has happened, we will now use the Talent Management Platform Local Administrator Processes document to walk through what you as an administrator will actually be doing and working on within the system. So the first thing with any system, of course, is that you have to log in. And you'll notice here, unless you speak Romanian, that you probably can't read most of the fields. Marian can read it, but I don't think any of the rest of us can. So the first thing that you're going to want to do when you click on the link that is on page 1, section 1, is you'll want to change this language to English. You'll use the login and password information that I had sent out to you prior to this meeting to log in. And once you are logged in, you will come to this dashboard page. Now, the one that you're looking at that I have for my password is going to be a little bit different than yours. The information that you'll be able to see is going to be local information, so information specific to your particular group. What I have access to as a global administrator is really access to the entire database and all of the information.
Jim, I do have a question. Can
Yeah.
I ask a question here? Does each company require an administrator? So we're looking to roll this out in the Chicago area. So I'm assuming that everyone will have an administrator assigned for their company and then take ownership of the registration of their own employees, spouses, right?
Actually, I think what most groups do, and certainly what we do in Lake Geneva, is that the actual IDCN membership team takes ownership for registering partners. So the passwords and the admin functions are really internal IDCN functions, if you will. The company logins that we will provide, to companies outside of the network lead will really be for search capabilities and for search, job posting capabilities. So we don't typically have companies register their own IDCN partner members. That is actually handled by the IDCN volunteer team. Now, I don't know how Chicago is set up or will be set up, but...
So, Linda, in the case of the new networks, we will help you with the registration of the new partners. We will also be able to support you with the company registration, because the challenge with the new platform is that the partners will not be able to register if the company didn't register first. So we need first the company to be in the system, and after that the partner can register.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions?
I had a question regarding if partners forget their passwords and we need to reset that.
At that point, you will reach out to
the partner itself, if they register and forgot their password, they will be able to recover the password based on the email that they provided. Which is not the case for the admin. So if you forgot your admin password, then we'll need to reach out to us. But for the partner itself, they are able to change their password and also to deactivate their account.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. So as an admin, once you use your administrative password and sign on again, you'll be brought to this administrative page. Now, the membership functions, there are a number of functions that you will be responsible for and probably currently are. And on page 1, there's a list of a number of them here. So partner member registrations, you're responsible for the approval and the decline process. Partner member deactivation, if a partner decides that they want to deactivate their membership, they can do that themselves, as you just saw on the previous screen, or if they contact their membership team, you may be able to do that on their behalf as well. There are situations where corporate members decide that they no longer want to be IGCN members. In those cases, we actually have to deactivate all of the partner members associated to that corporate member, and we'll walk through how to do that as well. Within the system, we have the ability to create Excel spreadsheet lists, so we can actually download database information and export it into an Excel document that can be used for things like event invitations or mailing lists that you want to communicate things to your partners, and we'll show you how to do that.
So I had a question regarding the list pulling. Is there any capability to do any basic filtration or conditions to pull a list?
Yes, there is. In fact, the search member information is exactly how we do that. So we'll walk through that and show you the different search capabilities that are available and the filter capabilities for those lists. Obviously you have a number of volunteers that work on your behalf in your organizations. We'll want to make sure that information is effectively noted in the database, and I'll show you where and how to do that. One of the other things, once you have corporate members in the system, and like Marianne said, the initial corporate member registration will be handled by the global administrators, but from a contact standpoint, sometimes your corporate member contacts change, and we're going to ask the local groups to handle any of those changes, and we'll show you how to do that. There's some reporting functionality built into the system that you'll be able to see a standard report for your particular group. And then the Synchron Wiki, this is really some additional help tool. It's really an online help tool that is built into the Synchron application. Synchron, by the way, is the partner who helped develop this on behalf of IDCN, and just some other information that we'll cover. All right, so we're going to now move on to page 2 of the document, where we will go through the partner member registration, approval, and decline process. All right, so again, at this point in time, your members have registered, and they're waiting for you to make a decision as to whether or not they get to be an IDCN member. The way that you do those approvals is through this page here. As you'll see, there's a number of tabs at the top, and in this case, we're actually going to go to the sourcing tab, click on the career page, where you will see this box pop up. And it will tell you that there are a couple of accounts, in this case, to be activated. So these are pending membership requests. Once you click on that, you'll see the names of the people who are requesting membership. And from this page, there's actually 2 actions that you can take. You can either approve them or you can decline them. Now, you can't just approve or decline them from here because you don't know anything about them or what their membership request is. So you'll have to click on their name to bring up their membership request form. Now, IDCN has a standard set of membership criteria that's listed here on page 2 of the training document. And you, as a local group, may have some exceptions to this criteria. At the end of the day, it's really up to the local group to determine who can and cannot be a member of IDCN within your group. However, IDCN does have this standard set of membership requirements. These are posted on the IDCN website. So, we try to adhere to those as much as possible, knowing full well that there are exceptions. So once you see this form, then you'll be able to look through their name. This is a live form of somebody who is waiting to be approved. In the Lake Geneva area, you'll notice that they live in the area through Geneva. They're looking for a job because they tell us they're looking for a job. And we know that the partner company is a current partner company in Lake Geneva. They've met the relocated in the last 3 years or soon to relocate criteria that IDCN has as members. And their partner email address is an email address that is associated with this particular mission. Now, that's how we will approve these in Lake Geneva. Now, if you have other processes and you reach out directly to the company to confirm or anything like that, again, follow your local processes. So at this point, we know that this person is okay to be approved. So I will go ahead and make that decision. When you approve somebody, a couple things happen. One, the page will ask you are you sure you really want to activate this account? In this case, we want to say okay. Another screen will pop up telling you the account has been activated. Now, there's no need to click on the box here. You simply need to select OK. That person will be removed from the pending queue, and they will now be an active candidate. Once you do that, the partner member will receive an email from IDCN with information that, one, welcomes them to the network. It also tells them to join the local LinkedIn group. It tells them to then go out and create their profile. So the additional information we walked through earlier, they now have the ability to do that by logging in with their email address and password that they created. Any questions on approving a membership request? Okay. Declining a membership request is the similar process. Again, you will click on the X, and once that happens, you'll get the confirmation messages again. They will drop out of the queue, and they will be sent a message that says that their membership was declined. Once you go through the decline process, there's actually a pop-up box that tells that you can select why you declined that. That reason code will be dropped into the email, and that tells them why you've decided not to accept them as an IDCN member.
Jim, I have a question.
Yep.
Can someone reapply with the same email address if I have to decline him, since I cannot put him on hold? Can someone reapply? Let's say he knows that his company is in the sign-up process and soon to be boarding on. So what are the guidelines there, or how does that work?
It shouldn't be a problem. Because it's not an active account,
okay.
The system should not reject it the second time that they try to apply.
Okay, so we could put that in an explanatory email if we have to decline someone.
You bet.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'd have to do that outside of the platform. Just send that directly.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay. So
excuse me, a question. A question is, according to the last question, if someone commits some error and decline an application, what is the problem? Is the partner can apply secondly?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Yes. My question is according to the last question, if someone responsible to the process decline an application, if it's possible for the partner apply again? you said it's impossible to submit again an email address.
Right, and at that point, you would then make another membership decision of accepting or declining.
Yeah. But for example, I'm responsible for London, and someone applied, and by mistake, I declined I don't know, I declined a partner application. What is the solution for the platform?
If you've declined it, they should be able to reapply.
He can reapply, or she can reapply, but I understood it's impossible to submit again the same email address, no?
For an active account. So if you have an account that's already been approved, the system will tell you there's already an active account in the system.
Okay. I can send an email explaining what's happened, and then he can apply again.
Right.
This is no problem. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Hello.
Yeah.
I have a question because I'm very new to IDC and I just joined 1 week ago. In all of this process in the beginning, is there any way to know if that person is actually a spouse from somebody from a corporate partner?
Yeah, I think the real answer is probably no. But I think for example, in Lake Geneva, there's two things that could happen. Either you can confirm that directly with the company representative for the corporate member. We do not do that in Lake Geneva, really due to the size of some of our corporate members. But the way we actually confirm is by reviewing the partner's email address, and if it's associated with a partner member company that we know is a Lake Geneva member, then we will approve it. At the end of the day, we rely on the honesty of the individuals who are trying to become members. There are, I'm sure, other groups who do a more diligent check of whether or not that partner actually works for one of your corporate members, and that's really up to the local group to determine.
Okay, but another follow-up question. Is there any capability of the system to incorporate some sort of check from the corporate company, from the corporate partner?
No, there's not at this time.
No. Okay. Thank you.
The option that you could have is to run a validation with the corporate members every quarter, and you can extract from the talent management platform by company a list of spouses that can be sent for validation with the corporate member if you would decide to do that at the local level.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Additionally, is there the possibility to, in the registration form, to add the partner name, the one that is employed by some corporate members? It will facilitate a lot the control and to accept or deny the profile.
Yeah, it actually is part of that. So if once a membership request form comes in, all of the partner information, this came right from the membership request form. So we know who the partner is, we know their email address, and the company that they work for.
Okay.
Okay, and that is actually part of the registration process. So that's how, when I approved the other one, what I looked at was the email address to make sure that it was associated with the company. Now, in this case, it's not, and there's a reason for that. So, but if I looked at this and didn't know any better, I would say, no, this partner obviously doesn't work for Nespresso because they have an IKEA work email address. So I would probably decline this. But that's how we process membership requests from Lake Geneva, is we actually just validate the email address and make sure it belongs to the partner company they said that they belong to. Of course, people can always just type in whatever they want, and at the end of the day, it's really, again, we rely on the honesty of our potential members. All right, so let's move on to the partner member deactivation process, which is located on page 3. Now, one of the things, again, we talked about the fact that partners can deactivate themselves, but if they come to you and say, I don't want to be a member of IDCN anymore, or they better yet come to you and say, hey, I can't be a member of IDCN because I found a job, you may have to deactivate them. The way we do that is through a different section of the database here, which is called the candidate section. And within this, we would go to an area called Search Candidates, where what you're seeing right now is really a true list of people who are members in the Lake Geneva region. It's really the only region where we have live data today. And we talked earlier about filtering the database and seeing particular partners. This section here is where you can actually create and filter the database. So if a partner comes to you and says, I want to deactivate my membership, at the very beginning you can just type in a keyword and do a full search on the database, or you can search just by name. I'm going to delete a couple of those filters. But so for instance, if I just type in Jim, I can see there's 2 members by the name of Jim in here today. If I want to then deactivate that member, which is what we're talking about here, I would click on that next to that name. I would go into Other Actions, and I would deactivate the site account. So now we're on page 7, section D. At this point, there's a number of reasons where I can deactivate. In this case, this is a duplicate request because it's really just a test request. I would put in the reason code. I would save it. Oh, I'm sorry, can't do that. It's already inactive. So, but that in essence is the process. What will then happen is the status will change from active to inactive, and this account is now deactivated. There's another situation where you may have to, or where we talked about a corporate member who may deactivate their membership. This is on page 9 of the document, section B. So in this case, I would then have to do a search on the information. I would select full search. I would go down here into additional filter criteria, and there's a section in this document that will actually show you what each of the categories are underneath each of these sections. But under the other information section, just following the instructions now I'm on A3, I will then select the location, and in location it'll bring out the different locations that are available, which is all of them. The other thing I will have to find is the company, and I'm going to use my spouse's company just as an example. And once you select the company, so basically what I'm trying to do here is delete or deactivate all of the Galderma associated partners, because Galderma said they don't want to be an IDCN member anymore. And if, excuse me, if the company's not a member, then the partners no longer can be members either. There's a couple things, then I'm going to filter and bring up the list of all of 3 people. And there's one of 2 ways that I can select these people. I can either individually select all of them, if there's just a few. If there happens to be a large number, for instance, if I had to delete Nestle for some reason, I would have a couple of hundred members. You can select all of them simply by clicking on the checkbox next to the name, and then it'll tell you how many were selected. One thing about the system is that it does have a limitation on the number of names you can see per page. It will go up to 100. If, in fact, your list is larger than 100, you would have to go to the next page and select again. Okay. Once you select, then you would just go through the same deactivation process that we would go through with individuals. This would then deactivate all of the partner members associated to that company. They would all be sent a deactivation email telling them it was deactivated because the company chose not to be a member anymore. And you can see that on page 10, the reason code for corporate member resigning. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen very often. But if it does, you would know how to delete or deactivate those accounts. Any questions on account deactivation? Okay.
I wanted to ask about if people are leaving that company, and obviously they're going to get deactivated.
Yep.
This database maintains their history, right? So do we have a time frame of when they were members, from which date to which date?
We would have within the database there is a timestamp associated with when the membership was approved, also a timestamp associated with when the account was deactivated.
Okay, great, thanks.
You bet. All right. So one of the other functions on page 11 of our document would be to potentially create mailing lists. In the Lake Geneva area, we create mailing lists to send out event invitations, for instance. So we have to create a list of several hundred people that we'll send an event invitation to. We can do that directly out of the talent management platform. And the way that we do that is, again, you would go to the section we're in now, which is candidate, search candidate, and then you would bring up your list of people. So if you wanted to bring up all of the Lake Geneva people, for instance, you set your filters to just filter all of the Lake Geneva people. By doing that, it'll bring up a list, and that list can then be exported into an Excel spreadsheet. So in this case, there's 102 candidates on here. You go on to page 12 of the document and scroll to the bottom of this page. Again, under the Other Actions section, you'll be able to download the results of the candidate search into an Excel file. Here is where you're able to select the criteria for that file. So these are the different things you can use. In this case, it's an event mailing list. All I need is their name, their email address. I select download, creates the file. I now have a file that I can copy and paste all of the email addresses right into whatever email system we happen to be using. So that's just one example of how you can create lists from the data that's in your group's database. Certainly you can create other lists for whatever reasons you need to. Any questions about that? Okay, very good. So now, we've already touched on the search capabilities within the system. What this next section really walks you through are the different criteria that are available. So I won't go into detail here, but what you need to know specifically is that when you do search, the searches can be conducted on the data that's in the partner member's profile. It can also be conducted within information that is within the CV that they've attached to their profile. So if you look on page 14, you'll see the different categories and subcategories of data that can be searched within the database. And that can all be set through the filters here. So once you select a category, there's subcategories that you can select. And you can select as many as you choose to filter it as much as you need to. But this is really just a section, it's more reference, so that if you do want to create lists or you do want to find certain candidates with certain criteria, this is how you would do that. Now, one of the unique functions about this is you may create a list over and over again, and you may want to save that search. So this also has the capability to create saved searches. So if I want to create a search that I always look for the Galderma people, I can create that search, but then I can save it. So that, once you hit save, you'll actually then put in a title. It'll tell you it's saved, and then it shows up over here on the side. So all of your saved searches. So now every time I want to search for Galderma people, I don't have to create the filter information anymore. I can just click on this and pull up the Galderma people. So it's a convenient search function if you happen to use the same searches over and over again. Okay. All right. Let's move on to section 6, which are your local volunteer edits and updates. Again, when people register through the registration form, they can indicate whether or not they want to be a volunteer. It's then up to your volunteer team to then go place them into particular roles. Once you place them in a volunteer role, then we do want to indicate that information in the profile itself. So where you would do that is, well, first of all, let me just say this. So once you have a candidate in the profile, this is what their profile will actually look like. Now, it's not a great example because it's not fully complete, but what you can see here is all of the information that the candidate entered as part of their profile creation. If there were a photo, it would show up here. You can upload a CV. In fact, let me bring up a better example. So, this particular person, they've uploaded their picture, they have a CV associated with their profile, they have filled in all of their profile classification, etc. And if they want to be a volunteer, this person says they wanted to, but they haven't been. We haven't found a role for this particular person. Once you do find a role, then you would edit their subcommittee. You can edit their you can actually type in their role. You have volunteer start date, volunteer end date, and this is where you would actually update the information. Now, all of this information that's in this database is editable by you as the administrator. So one of the things that you want to be careful of is to make sure that you don't do things that you don't mean to do. Because if you edit somebody's profile, they will actually see that when they log in next time. So it's just something to watch out for as you're doing your work through the system. Okay. All right. One of the next sections that we want to talk about that we won't go into full detail on is Section 7 on page 17, which is managing corporate member contact information. Corporate members information can be found in a different section called the CRM section. We have a list of companies and a list of contacts that you'll be able to see for the companies that are associated with your local group. There are occasions, again, when corporate member information changes. When that changes, there are really three functions you can do here. You can add a contact, you can edit a contact, or you can delete a contact. Once you click on these buttons, it'll bring up the profile. So for instance, just as an example, it'll bring up the profile, and again, this is where you would actually edit the information for that particular contact. Probably won't happen a lot, but this is, again, reference material that will help you walk through that as you need to. Okay. So that really brings us to section 8 on page 21, which is the reporting section. All right. So within the HR section, or the HR metrics section, this is where you will find the reporting that is associated with the tool. Now, you'll see a number of reports here. Most of these are not active or really don't mean anything from an IDCM perspective. Again, this is a standard application used by a number of different companies. But what is important to you as an administrator is the candidate database report. And within this database report, once you click on it, you have the ability to filter by a particular time frame or a specific location. In your case, you're only going to see one location because you're assigned a local user rights. But as a global administrator, I can pull reports from really any group. The report itself, once you scroll down through it, you can see things like how many members there are in the system, the types of contracts they're looking for, desired industries they're looking for jobs within, languages that they speak, educational levels, how many years they've been in the workforce, age ranges, how many male versus female we have in the group, countries that they came from, the locations. This is from the full database, so the locations of the candidates in the system, the partner companies, and if people have deactivated, the deactivation reasons. So this is a standard report that is available to each of the local groups. And once you have data from your group in the system, then you'll be able to pull these reports. I think this will come in pretty handy when Marianne reaches out to everybody and asks for the quarterly IDCN KPIs. But again, it's just another tool that at a glance can give you a good idea of what the candidate profile for your group looks like. Questions about that? All right. The next section really talks about the Synchron Wiki. The Wiki, again, is an online help tool that is part of the system. Now, as Synchron is a Romanian company, you'll find that a lot of the labels are still in Romanian. Those could not be changed because this is used by a number of other organizations. But what we were able to get them to translate on our behalf were the things that I think we would access as part of the administration of the system. So all of these sections, again, some more general information about how to use the system or functionality within the system that you can click on to get some additional information. Any questions about the help tool? Okay. All right. That really brings us to section 10. I think we've talked about these things for the most part. Again, if you are editing something in a profile, those edits are done real time. Again, when partners register as part of the registration process, the emails that get sent to them, there is a possibility that they get sent to either a junk or spam folder. So if people tell you that they've registered and you tell them that you've approved them, they may not have seen their emails. Just refer them to their spam or junk folders. The email, we've tested it pretty thoroughly. The emails are going out, so it's just sometimes people can't find them. So from my perspective, I think those are really all of the areas that I want to cover at this time. We have a few minutes left for any additional questions that you might have, and then we'll talk about next steps.
I have a question with regards to the calendar. If I, as an administrator, put in an event in the calendar, will all the members' calendar be populated with the same information, or only mine?
The calendar function is not really a function that IDCN is using. I don't think I can even answer that question.
Okay.
I'll find out and get back to you, but it's
or only people with administrator rights will see what's in the calendar. So the two or three of us.
Yeah, I don't know if
my hub.
That would show up locally. Yeah, I think if you would have to be able to log into the admin section to see anything you put into a local calendar.
Okay, thanks.
The platform itself was not designed also to manage the event invitation or the calendar. For that, we'll have the marketing website, the idcn.info, where you can post the events.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Hello, just one more question. Here in Mexico, sometimes we have issues on knowing which one of the corporates has paid the fee, the membership fee. So would it be easier if we would have a kind of filter from the center, who are the ones who are aware who pays or who doesn't? If there would be some filter, so we will know if we can accept the donation from those companies.
Yeah, I think the answer to that. Yeah, I think the answer to that is if they are, because the global team will be responsible for putting the corporate member themselves in the system. You can assume that if the corporate member is in the system, they have either paid their fees or in communication with Marianne. So you'll as long as they're in the system, you can move forward.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. So let's talk quickly about next steps. So as a live tool, obviously we now need you to go out to your groups and implement this. And implement this basically means we need to get all of your members now into the database. The template letter that I sent out as part of the training documentation is a letter that similar to what we used in Lake Geneva when we had all of our partner members re-register. It tells them why we're doing it. It gives them specific instructions on what they can expect as they register within the platform. It provides them the link that they can actually register online. You and your local groups really need to determine the best way to manage that re-registration or registration process for your groups. That is really just a sample of how we did it within the Lake Geneva group. The goal is to have all of our partner members in the system no later than February 15th. So I know that may pose some challenges, certainly for the newer groups, but from an approval standpoint, Marianne and I are both here to assist in helping you with that. For the more established groups, I think it's really just a matter of determining the best way to go out and request that your partners re-register. Any questions about those expectations. Very good. All right. Our contact information is in section 11 of this document. If you do have any questions or need any assistance in any way, please feel free to reach out to us, and we're here to support you any way we can. Thanks, everybody, for your time.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jim.
Have a great rest
of the day.
Thank you very much. You bet.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
goodbye.
you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks.